Yo, it's Zack from That One Show, and today, this is another episode of Artist of the Week, and today we're going to be looking at a great grunge band, my personal favorite. I'm not even that big of a fan of the genre, but I will say these guys are my favorite. Alice in Chains. Now this episode I kind of have a little bit more to talk about than the last few episodes, so this might be a little bit longer. Alice in Chains. Just gonna get into it. The first album, I'm gonna go by album, just like I've done the last two episodes. Facelift. I think this is their first album. Came out in 1990. I think it's very good. I think this album is okay. It is their first album. I've always given slack to artists for the first album. They're still trying to discover their voice. They're still trying to discover the sound they want to make. It's their first album. So, but there are still some classics on here. Man in the Box is such a great grunge, like heavy metal sound. It had just that guitar in that song is just so good. And then, my second favorite song off that album is I Know Something, which is the other big popular one. That is also a very good song off that album. That album, while it is their first, it's still pretty good. It's still heavy. Lane Stanley, who was doing vocals at the time, had a very interesting sound that really was different at the time. So after that, the album Dirt, which is one of my favorites. It is up there. Songs like Them Bones, songs like Down in a Hole, songs like Rooster, and Dirt, and which is the title track, Angry Chair. It's a funny title, but it's actually a pretty good song. All these songs, most of them are pretty heavy. As we go further into Alice in Chains, they seem to get a little more experimental, but their first couple albums are very heavy grunge sound, and I really like it. Like, there are so many good guitar, so much good vocals on especially in Dirt, with songs like Them Bones, and one of the most popular songs, probably one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs, Rooster, is really good. They're great songs. The next album is a strange one. It was more experimental than anything they had made at the time. It was called Jar of Flies. Jar of Flies is definitely their more alternative rock than grunge and metal. I think it's great. I think it's a good album. There are a bunch of really good songs on it. Songs like Don't Follow. I really like Don't Follow. I like No Excuses. And Swing on This, which is very, very unique for that band, because it doesn't really sound too... It's like a combination of metal and swing music, and it's very good. I think it's a very good song. My favorite song off the entire album is Don't Follow. It has a very good acoustic guitar, and then the song, as it goes on, it's very peaceful. It's very interesting, and as the song goes on, it picks up, and then it's just a great song. I think it is one of their best. All in all, I think Jar of Flies, it is their shortest album, but I think it is one of their strongest albums. It is definitely in my top 3 Alice in Chains albums. It's really good. After that, my personal favorite Alice in Chains album, the self-titled album. It's called Alice in Chains. That is the last album featuring Lane Stanley. I think Lane Staley. Is that how they pronounce it? I don't know. But Lane Staley, who was the lead singer from Facelift to this album, is one of the best grunge vocalists I think I've ever heard. I haven't listened to too much grunge music, I can't say. I think, in my personal opinion, I think he's better than Kurt Cobain. I think he's better than Soundgarden. I can't really say that because I haven't really listened to too much Soundgarden. I'll probably do them some episode in the future. But No, I think he has a very fantastic voice. He sounds really good. When it comes to the last album with Lane Stanley, Alice in Chains, I think this was a very great album for them to end on. This is my favorite Alice in Chains album, with songs like Sludge Factory, which is like a very grungy. When I looked up to see what genres people give it, I learned sludge metal is a thing. I was like, okay, I have never heard of sludge metal before. I've never heard that word. I've never heard that genre used, but okay. Sludge Factory is a great song. It's a very weird, heavy song. Songs like Heaven Beside You, which is, I would say, probably between this and Rooster, is probably my favorite Alice in Chains song. It's very good. It's very chilling to hear. I really like it. It does give me some chills when I listen to it. That's how you know a song hits you the right way, and it hits my ear the right way. And I like the song Frogs. That's a heavier song. Then there's the Unplugged album. Now, when I do an artist, I usually won't do, if you watched the podcast before, where I used to do this on the podcast, I used to talk about a band a week on the podcast. We made it its own show. I never really touch live albums because they're just songs that were previously on there. But when it comes to Unplugged, I've always done the Unplugged ones. I did it with Nirvana, and I'm going to do it with Alice in Chains. I personally think the Unplugged album for Alice in Chains is really good. The acoustic guitar is really great for a lot of these songs, and it was the last album that had Lane Staley in it. It's a fantastic way for them to have possibly ended their career at that point. I mean, it's not that their career had ended, it's just after that we kind of get into the William Duvall era, and Alice in Chains kind of fell off a bit. And that's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's not the same band anymore. That now that Lane Staley is gone, it's really not the same. Because the last three albums, Black Gives Way to Blue, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, and Rainier Fog, they're just okay. I don't think they're great rock albums. It seems to me that once a original metal, alternative rock, those grunge bands from the 90s seem to get into the modern era, they seem to become a little lackluster. There's a lot of, I got a few examples, like Alice in Chains is a good one, Metallica, people might get a little iffy with that one because, yeah, I just did think the further you go into the future, the more these artists seem to kind of fall off a bit because they get lazy. They get a little bit lazy. Their production, they want to do it cheaper. They want to. I don't know. There's something There's not as much heart in it. Back in the '90s when they were just starting, or late '80s, for Metallica's case. But what I'll say about the last couple of Alice in Chains albums, I didn't really like Black Gives Way to Blue. I thought it was a okay rock alternative grunge album. I like the title track. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it's great. I do like two songs off of The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, and that is Stone and Phantom Limb. I think those songs are pretty good. They have very heavy guitar, and they were probably the best songs out of this era of Alice in Chains. And it's not that William Duvall is terrible. It's just he's not Lane Stanley. And it doesn't feel like Alice in Chains. It doesn't. They have the everything else, but the vocals are just not Alice in Chains. They don't sound like them. There's the album Rainier Fog. This album is one of my. It's a little bit better than Black Gives Way to Blue, but not by much. It's still, I think it's lazy, kind of modern day rock, I guess. I like the song Never Fade. that's good. It was popular. It was on the radio a lot when it came out. I listened to it. I like it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about it. I do like that track, but the rest of that album is kind of just okay to me. I really don't think it's that great of a metal album. It's a shame. I really recommend, if you are a big fan of grunge and alternative rock, Alice in Chains is a very good band to listen to. And that's where I'll leave it at. I personally think they're my favorite grunge band so far that I've listened to. I don't know, maybe I'll find somebody in the future that I'll like more. But I do enjoy them a little more than Nirvana. In the end, I would recommend Alice in Chains. At least the first couple albums with Lane Stanley. They're all very good grunge albums to start off if you want to get into the genre. Well, I'm Zack. Remember to tip your delivery driver.